Happy New Year, guys. It is, well, it is not today. Well, so let me pull up the calendar here today. And it is going to be a Friday, January 1st. This marks the beginning of what will likely run me a very long time and is a crazy, crazy project. At this point, I've spent hours and hours recording. I have no idea the pace I'll be able to put these out, but for those of you that have kind of been watching posts here on the channel, I have talked a little bit about having some time in ARR. I've gone back and I've started leveling a fresh character totally on my lonesome, and I'm enjoying the lore. And I think that it's a chance to kind of feel everything that I'm missing. What's interesting is in the context of current stuff, you know whether an NPC showing up is significant or not. You know whether a place has future significance or not. And so I'm really excited to be doing my very first playthrough of ARR. And the reason I'm announcing this, and the reason this isn't part of a typical post, is that this is the introduction post. This is post number 0 of me providing voice acting for A Realm Reborn. One of the reasons that I struggled to push through it is that in games, I'm here to play games. And if you're going to break from games, it needs to be as easy to consume as possible. And I'm not a very quick reader. And so the amount of time it takes me to read all these quests really puts a brake on the amount of gameplay I get, especially in AR when a lot of the gameplay was very fetch questy and all that. And we've talked about kind of where UHP has talked about the difference in their design mentality then and so versus now. And so like if you felt that it was different than the way they write current quests, just know that it is different than the way they write their current quests. So I think that I want to try to provide that because I haven't seen anybody else try to do it on just a grand scale. There's people like FFXIV that will go in and do individual things, and I'm looking for something that's just more like, let me just play through all of ARR, and not just the cutscenes that are in my house, because that leaves gaps. So there's a lot more nested, at least in ARR. The plan is just to do the 1 to 50. So we'll talk about what happens after 50 when we get there. I want to have a feel for how long this takes, and there isn't really a bite-sized chunk that's less than 1 to 50. So this is already an enormous project. I want to do a couple of caveats to kind of prepare you guys for what this will feel like. First of all, as I start to kind of edit these and prepare to post these, I can tell you right now, they won't be daily posts. I don't have a posting schedule in mind yet, but they will not be daily. Ideally, they would be like the 9 a.m. post. I've been posting it, or at like 8 a.m. I've been posting at that kind of 8 a.m. time slot, which marks the beginning of my stream over on Twitch. So they go live at the same time, and then afterwards, definitely feel free to come say hello. So they would be live at that same time. I may try to pick consistent days of the week. I don't really know how that's going to feel. But because of that, and because they're going to be at kind of that TV episode length, and ARR is dozens and dozens of hours long, this could take me a lot of months to get through. I have recorded hours and hours worth, and I've started voicing for hours and hours. I have to keep like lots of water nearby. So I don't know how many episodes ARR makes. It's a lot. They're not all going to be the same length because I kind of have a target length where like there's a number that I try to hit, and then after that I take the next logical exit, the next logical break point. And sometimes that's going to stretch and push them. I am not a voice actor by trade. I was not in theater. I was in tech theater. I do not have good voices. So just know this is very much like a dad reading to their child. You get what you get. If somebody better or more professional wants to come along and do this better than me, please do. Like, please do. Also, as far as safer work goes, Brian and I have always kept, I've always kept stream fairly clean. We've always kept work to game. I keep my channels in a position where if you want to play them aloud while you're working, or if you want to play them where there's kids around, I don't use the language in my content that I create that I may use as an adult when I do things like stub my toe or play games like Call of Duty. I keep things pretty clean, but in my family, I grew up in a family full of readers. There's many reasons that I'm the odd one out, and reading is one of them. And when we listened to books on tape, or when we picked a book to read that we wanted to rent from the library growing up, when we would go there in the summers, you were allowed to pick any book at any age. There was nothing too adult if it was put into written form. to encourage us to do the amount of reading we did do. Now, my siblings and my wife and all of them grasped onto that concept, and they read a ton. I, as an adult, really don't. But what I mean by that is there's foul language in the storyline. I will read it as it is. This is an art form. This is a literary narrative experience, and I want to read it the way that they've decided to portray it. They obviously have decided that this video game, which usually has to keep things relatively safe for work, can have some foul language in it, and I will read it the exact same way, even though my commentary and my response to things probably won't have foul language in it. So just know with these posts that they will be at whatever ESRB rating or however you want to judge things that the game that I'm voicing is. So I think it's T for teen, but just kind of keep that in mind. So with the quality being off, I will also warn you that I'm going to do my best to give unique voices among my very limited range so that it's easy to kind of tell when different people are talking. But sometimes a character pops up and has voice acting later. I'm doing this as I go, so I won't even have a target, even if I could hit that person's voice acting. So a character's voice may change, because if there's voice acted scenes in here, I'm going to leave those in, and then I will just be voicing all the gaps, which is a huge number of gaps in ARR. I'm just doing something that I know Square doesn't have the budget to do. And I know why. We've listened to the panels and stuff on why the amount of voice acting and how voice acting works and stuff. It's an immense workload for them to do at a professional quality. I have a much lower bar for the quality I'm putting out, so it's easier for me to do than for them. So the other thing with that is, like, if there's time between my recording sessions, or there's time between me seeing a character's voice may also change, even just among my abilities. So this is not meant to be the be-all, end-all. It's just meant to be a labor of love, and this is the sort of content that I think if somebody had out there when I was going through ARR, I would have listened to this in the background while I played, and it would have gotten me up on story, and it would have made this easier for me to digest. So I just want to make the content that I would want to consume. So that's really all this is. It will take a very, very long time for all of these to come out, but my plan is to go through all of ARR 1 to 50. I think that that's a huge amount of things on what a primal is, what a scion is, who these characters that we spend so much time with through later expansions or are impacted on later expansions. This is the introductory point for many of them. And so I think that there's a lot of concepts here on words like tempering that are probably going to be touched on here. The echo. There's a lot of phrases that really don't mean anything when you just pick up this game and download it, and actually should take on some more significance. And I have a lot of questions about. And so Shadowbringers did a great job of kind of explaining a lot of things at a base level. But as we wrap up the amount of Shadowbringers narrative we'll have, and I want more Shadowbringers, the only way I know how to get that is to go back and explore things that would give me a deeper understanding of the Shadowbringers we do have, because we're not getting more Shadowbringers. 5.3 marked the end of that, and everything after 5.3 is prepping us for the next expansion. So we're literally packing up to leave that expansion as a gameplay loop, as a 2-year experience, as a gamer. We are moving to the point where it will now be under another title moving forward in 6.0. Hopefully the writing and the voice acting and the experience is just as good or better. But either way, the Shadowbringers chapter of Final Fantasy XIV is coming to a close, and I really want to enjoy it to the maximum way. So I think it's time for me to go back and explore ARR. I can tell you, it's a lot of feels to go back and explore things that may have been a slow cutscene that didn't mean anything to me then. But now that I know things about my character and I'm playing as a warrior, I get put into warrior armor, and I talk to primals, and I do these things that, in the context of Shadowbringers, mean a lot. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys. And I hope that you enjoy this. Any feedback along the way, just know that I have to work on these very far in advance. So I am listening. Thank you so much for any feedback you give. It may take several weeks of this content before you see that feedback. even get attempted for me to respond by adjusting the way I do things or improving the way I do things, because I will have already recorded and uploaded several in advance. And so it may take a while, but I am listening, and anything you guys can offer, I would appreciate. This is not a skill set I ever plan to develop, much like tanking. This is something that is coming out of being content creation. It's making me grow as a person in a direction I probably wouldn't have ever tackled on my own, because I feel insecure doing the voice acting when it's just me in this room. Like, I feel silly doing it. So it's not a skill I've honed, and I look forward to getting better at it. I dread the beginning of a recording session because I just feel, I don't know why, I can stand in front of a whole room full of people and talk. Huge portions of my career have been in sales. Meeting strangers is something that I'm very good at. This is different. This feels silly. It feels embarrassing. And it really makes me admire people that are very good at this. So it's a neat skill set to go learn. So hopefully you guys enjoy. This is the introductory post. Happy New Year. Hopefully you guys enjoy them. I will try to have a thumbnail that will kind of number them in addition to my typical thumbnail design. So you guys can decide if you want to watch individual ones or if you want to watch as a series. I really appreciate any and all feedback. I'm not worried about people making fun of me or posting it on Reddit as a meme. Go nuts. If somebody wants to tell me how crappy this is and wants to do it better, please do. Please do. If somebody wants to tell me how crappy I am and they're not going to do better, that's why I'm making it, man. I'm making it at a low quality because right now it doesn't exist in any quality that I've found. So if it's hidden on YouTube, please send me a link. But I have not found anybody that's done it as a voice-acted narrative experience, as if you're watching the game through a series of cutscenes in a very, like, you know, anime episode type, like back-to-back. Who knows how many episodes are in a season. Let's just crank through this when I sit down to like watch Naruto, and they're like, it's like, how many of these are there? There's 1,000. Whoa! Or more than that. So I'm just trying to enjoy this. That's it. That's me rambling through my introduction. I will see you guys next time. Come say hello to me in stream and enjoy the content mixed in here on the channel with all of me just talking about gaming, kinda.